Welcome to Online Tutorial 4. This is the second time I've made Online Tutorial 4 because the one that I made earlier today, which I was about to send you, got gazumped by the removal of face-to-face teaching, which finishes on Friday night. And therefore, we're not able to have our class on Saturday in a face-to-face mode. So the good news is what we'll be doing, which we were going to do anyway because we've already got quite a few people who had concerns about attending, is that it'll be streamed live. And so we'll be in the classroom, Marcia and myself. You'll be able to come in to the classroom, so to speak, via Zoom. You only need to download the app onto your desktop, onto your tablet, onto your phone, whatever device you want to use. And you'll see the access links, which will be in the announcements section shortly. And you can just simply come into that space and you'll be able to talk to us. We'll be able to talk to you. You'll be able to ask us questions on the way through. Sure, it's not exactly the same as face-to-face, but we will be able to achieve what we set out to do. And if you're in a situation where you couldn't come on Saturday because of a work commitment or something else that you've already discussed with me, I get that. It doesn't change anything there in that sense for the Saturday. It'll be recorded. Everything we do, typically it'll be in 3 separate recordings: the introduction, what the unit's about, then the whole process of getting into the groups and working through while we're doing that, and then there's a third session which will be very much about, okay, where to from here. Now, to be honest with you, I'm anticipating this is going to shorten the day somewhat, but I don't quite know by how much. And I don't want to give you an amount of time so that you're expecting, he said it'd be finished by 2 o'clock. I don't know whether it'll be 2 o'clock or 3 o'clock, but I'm sure in this format, there's going to be a bit less interaction. Although having said that, hopefully you will still interact. Many of you might feel more comfortable to interact because you can just type a question and we can respond to that. Anyway, the Saturday this week still happens from 9 o'clock. However, you'll interact by watching it in a place of your choosing live, and you can interact with us. And there are certain parts of the session that you have to interact with in terms of getting into the groups, which we can do online. I'm going to send out another short video on the Friday, which will help you prep for the role that I'm looking for you to play in this online version of the unit. And so that will come out. So no matter what your choice is, we'll be there to support you and to make sure that you get through. Now, the good thing about the nature of this unit is it lends itself to this process very well. Even though it's an experiential unit, because we're using low cognitive load, you've already got the theory base that you need. You'll be doing that in a few hours' time, but certainly on the Thursday with your pre-test, and you'll be actually ready to roll. So there's some good news about that that's actually quite an uncomplicated. We've just got to get you through this Saturday so you know what you're doing between now and week 8. Okay? So this is what matters. The logic of the unit. Being able to explain to you on Saturday morning why we do what we do. Obviously, we're going to be doing it slightly differently now, but while we do that, and then helping you to get into a group. We can still do this process online. I suspect it'll be a bit messier than what it would have otherwise been, but we can still do that process. And then making sure that when we finish the session, you know exactly what's in front of you to do. All right? The other complication, of course, is that some of you weren't able to come to the Saturday session, and so you were going to come along to the Monday session. Well, there's nothing happening next Monday, and certainly there won't be anything face-to-face for the rest of the semester. Don't panic. I'll still be doing my role that I anticipated on the Monday, but I'll be doing it via Zoom. And I'll also double it up again and do it on 1 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and then that evening, 7 to 8, and even on the next Tuesday, from 9 to 11 again. So if you're unable to come to class on Saturday because of your work or other issues you've already discussed with me, don't panic. You'll have the 3 recorded sessions, and my advice to you is jump into them. Watch the sessions and then come along to these Zoom sessions where we can facilitate getting you into those groups, okay? That's the best we can do with this process, and my job is, I suppose, to try and make sure by the time we get to Tuesday that we've got everyone who's participating in the unit into a group and or an alternative context where they can proceed with assessment 2, which is due in week 8. So the things that haven't changed is I still want you to come along with an open mind. That's really important. Regardless of how you come along to the unit, have an open mind. It'll really help you in the way that you embrace the challenges we're now going to face, in the way that you embrace a different style of learning, because that's still going to be exactly the same style of learning for you in terms of the assessments you have to complete, and in terms of how you open yourself up to have a really good experience with the people you're going to work with. And I'll talk more about that in the video that will come out on Friday. You're not working with people in a normal group context. You just have to have a conversation. That's all you're having, is a conversation. You're writing your own assignment, they're writing their own assignment. So I'll explain that further as we go on. I still want you to bring along 4 words. So have those words written down so that you can play with them in your own space. And maybe once you get into a group, you might want to share that sort of feedback with people as well. But have that. And regardless of where we've got to during this week and where we're heading to, I still want you to trust the process. Nothing's actually changed. The workshop times are still exactly the same. The medium through which we'll interact, that's changed. But everything will be recorded. We'll be standing in the lecture theatre doing exactly what we would normally do. So what you will see, other than a bit of backwards, conversation with an audience, everything will be the same. But my challenge to you is, let's have that audience participation anyway, right? You can do that simply by unmuting your microphone, which is one of those tricky things we have to do. You can imagine if we've got 250 people all out there in Cyberland, and there's dogs and cars and all sorts of things going on. So when you're watching, you do need to mute your microphone, and then when you want to ask a question, just unmute and ask away, okay? We'll talk that one through as we're going through. It's interesting, I like this phrase. What the caterpillar calls the end of the world, the master calls a butterfly. It's very easy to look at this and think, oh my gosh, the whole semester's just been ruined for me. Everything's up in the air. I don't know how I'm going to cope. All it is, it's becoming something else. Something else that you didn't expect it to be. A caterpillar doesn't expect to become a butterfly, but it nevertheless does. And maybe you didn't expect to become an online learner across all your subjects, and I hope that they all work out in terms of you being able to progress. I can assure you, if you follow the process, work with the materials that have already been provided for you on Blackboard, you'll have no problems in getting a good result in the unit. It'll be still down to the same factor. If you trust the process and follow the process, you'll do fine. So, I'll talk more in the next couple of days to prep you for that process and the nature of the role that I'm looking for you to play as an online student. But for now, key things are, we're not meeting face-to-face. We're doing it online. You can do that asynchronously so that we are all together. You can do it by watching the videos afterwards. And on the Monday and the Tuesday, I'll make myself available for practically the whole day, so that if you're unsure, you're disconnected from some aspect of the unit, that we can work through that and get you back on the right track. Any questions, any queries, you know where to find me. I look forward to seeing you in one way or another very soon.